What are visionary boards, and why do companies need them?
So the term visionary boards is something that I've used, and it comes from a group that I've been affiliated with, Women Corporate Directors. And every year, Women Corporate Directors does a Visionary Board Award. And this past year, I was fortunate to chair a thought leadership commission that was really getting into, sort of what are visionary boards and exactly these questions. What are visionary boards? Why do companies need them? And how do you make your board visionary? So just to step back for a minute, Women Corporate Directors, or WCD, is an organization. It's global, and everyone on the organization is an experienced corporate director of a large company. So the wealth of knowledge and experience is just unbelievable. And we actually spent a lot of time talking about what is a visionary board, and it was not an easy answer to come to. We did finally wrestle what we believe to be a visionary board, and the essence of it is that it's a board that's future-focused and expansive in thought. So future-focused in terms of always thinking beyond the horizon. What are the weak signals that management is probably not focused on now but should be? Where are the blind spots? How do you think 10 steps ahead? And then also expansive in thought. So it's the future, but then it's also, what's happening today that the company really should be focused on. And so that was the whole concept behind what a visionary board is. Having said that, I think the answer as to why you need them should be pretty obvious. And it's an aspirational idea. It's not easy for boards to do all the time, but that sort of a board that's really focused in that way can just be a phenomenal strategic asset to any company. Visionary boards are always trying to improve. They, first of all, look at who's on the board. And that can change over time. And that's a really hard thing to do. Yeah. Most board members, they're at the peak of their career. They are wise, they are smart, they're experienced. But there may come a time where they're not the right person for that particular company. And it is very difficult. I would say the number of companies that have actually gotten to a point where they do change over simply because of the needs of the company is infinitesimal. So when I say aspirational, that is one, is really for the board to, sort of every year step back and say, okay, we've just finished our strategy session. Now let's look at the board and who's on the board. And who do we think, do we have the right people that are going to help us really achieve that forward-looking strategy? So that's one. Then another one is, what are we looking at from a board perspective? Are we looking at the right information? Where do we get our information from? And that's a whole other area. And then third, how are we operating as a board? Are we having the right kind of discussions that we, really should be focusing on exactly the right kind of issues? Or are we just, sort of sitting back and listening to presentations about what the last quarter was, where we all sort of pat ourselves on the back? All of those things, incredibly difficult to do, but incredibly important.